Right? Isn't that like the sound when you make when this is like a near urgent news report? Folks, with an urgent news report, there's a live stream happening this very second.
Indeed, I just got the notification on my phone.
Oh, did you now? Well, then, I know that you know that I know that you know. So, we're here. I,
And we're talking about puzzles today.
yeah, so all the puzzles all the time. That's every single story. It's
No,
a puzzle.
just the first one. Um, but we have a nice little poll about puzzles, and I had a very hard time picking because I love all kinds of puzzles. But we've gotten really into jigsaw puzzles lately. But like word puzzles, numbers puzzles, I will do those too. I'm just a puzzler.
Yeah. Amber, it's like the Riddler. She's one of Batman's nemesis, and
No.
she's called the Puzzler. Hi, Mary. Welcome from Vegas. We're here in Maine, as you know.
In the cold wastelands of
In the
Maine.
cold, desolate wastelands of the United States is a Siberia version of Siberia. Although I guess Alaska would probably be that, right?
Yeah. I'm reading a book right now set in Antarctica that makes Maine's winter sound like a tropical vacation.
Yes. Well, we don't have it that bad, to be quite frank. Like winter has gotten more mild over the years. Let's put it that way. It's not nearly as bad as it was when I was a kid. But when I was your age, when I was just a little sprout, you put other because you like hidden object puzzles and Where's Waldo. I like those kind of puzzles too. It's hard. There's a
Mhm.
lot of good
There's
puzzles
so
out
many
there.
good puzzles.
I mean, I don't like word puzzles. Let me rephrase that.
Oh, we
I
used to
like,
play Wordle.
yeah, we used to play Wordle.
I still play Wordle.
Amber plays Wordle. I like jigsaw puzzles. I like number puzzles. I like those hidden object puzzles. I think they're all,
Yeah.
fun to play.
Yeah,
So,
when I was a kid, they had the kids hidden object puzzle in the newspaper, like and that was like on the weekend one, and that was always my favorite one was to try to find or it was like you had like it was either hidden objects or you had like the one picture has these things and one picture doesn't, and you had to spot the difference.
oh, spot the difference. Yeah.
So I was huge fan of those too. All the puzzles.
Yes. So now that we've regaled you on the many of our puzzles, let's get started on being annoyed. Am I the jerk for being annoyed that my girlfriend keeps doing my puzzles? You thought I was kidding when I said they would be all puzzle stories, all of them, every single one of them.
No, it's just the first one.
So I'm a 22-year-old male, and I live with my girlfriend, a 24-year-old female, and I've had some real issues fighting anxiety and mental health issues. One of the things I identified as a trigger was my use of screens, and in particular, social media. I think we are all fighting that right now.
Yeah.
In an attempt to battle this, I have tried to find activities that are soothing and keep me away from the electronic devices. One of the things that I found really helpful at this is jigsaw puzzles, particularly tough ones where you don't just have to go off the box. It will normally take me a few days by doing it bit by bit every now and then when I need to decompress. So they will be there on the table for this whole period. We don't use the table for eating, so that's not an issue. Well, once or twice my girlfriend has joined me to do part of the puzzle, and though she was a lot quicker at finding the pieces as we went, I didn't mind this. However, lately, she has been doing some of the puzzles when I'm not around. And the other day I came home and she had completed half of one of the ones that I had just started. She has never previously shown any interest. I feel like it is taking away from my time to relax and unwind. I have tried politely to say that they are my puzzles, but she keeps doing them. I am tempted to broach the subject again, but more firmly. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I understand that OP needs to have the time to do their puzzles. And that these are technically their puzzles, but when you're living in a shared living space and there are puzzles on the table, like it is hard to resist those puzzles. And so I think if it's just a matter of OP running out of puzzles, buy more puzzles. You can get them at the thrift shop for like $1 a puzzle. We just got a bunch from ours. a lot of libraries, like our local library, has puzzles you can borrow. Like they have a whole huge section. Some of them are like 3,000 piece puzzles and whatnot. So puzzles to keep you busy for days.
Yeah, I say centrifuge.
No. Like who are you throwing in the centrifuge?
Everyone goes into the centrifuge. That's the theme of today's. You have to figure out why, the puzzle of why I'm throwing everyone into the centrifuge. It involves reading my mind. No, I don't actually think that OP's in the wrong here. I think that this is pretty reasonable to some degree, but I think OP's also kind of forgetting the fact that, like, they haven't shown any interest in these puzzles until recently as well.
Well, that's the thing, is like,
right?
Puzzles are something that, like, I go through phases where, like, there's sometimes when I just want to do them all the time, and sometimes when, I just kind of forget that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that they're just, once you start doing them, they're a lot of fun, and the girlfriend may also find it calming and relaxing
that's what
too.
I wanted to say. Yeah, it's like she may actually be under the same kind of troubles here, because I think, like, the world is a stressful place, especially nowadays, and I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and anywhere you can find a little bit of joy and maybe even camaraderie with, like, putting together puzzles is a good thing. So I think that OP should be looking at this as a net positive, because now they can double. Yeah, they can double their puzzle budget. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Pool their resources, get more cool puzzles.
Yeah.
We got a Clue puzzle going on right now on our table.
Yeah, we went to the thrift shop a couple weeks ago. We found a puzzle that was like a Clue, and you have to put it together and solve the mystery out of it. And lo and behold, it was completely unopened. We're the first people to even use this puzzle. So, I mean, thrift shops and stuff like that are great resources.
They are.
Because you don't know what you're ever going to find. We've had some not so good winners. We had a cat puzzle where it was missing a piece, and a bunch of the pieces were chewed on by what looks like a cat.
Yeah, well, the box was also full of cat fur too, a little bit too.
Cat fur.
And the one before that one, we actually had all the pieces. It was like a moth and butterfly one. It was pretty cool, but it was a little, it had some crumbs in the box that we were a little like, this shouldn't be there.
Iffy on the crumbs, yeah. So, if maybe you might find yourself an extra snack if you use thrift shop puzzles too. So that is a possibility. But what do the comments have to say?
So Mary says, not a jerk, but an unfinished puzzle is like having an open bag of chips on the table, hard to resist.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on that one. Well, I agree.
That's the thing, is I try to do the puzzle with Brian, but like I will just like go out there on my own and be like, Brian, I want to work on the puzzle right now because I just can't resist.
Speaking of irresistible, I mean, that doesn't work at all. Am I the jerk for being mad at how my brother was babysitting my daughter? I was going to go for it. I was like, I'm going to go for it. And no, it failed. The segue did not work.
I mean, maybe it worked perfectly.
Maybe it worked perfectly. So I'm a 30-year-old female, and I have a daughter who's a 4-year-old female. And my brother is a 17-year-old male, and he's also a kid. But he isn't a toddler like my daughter. I would never have known that with the age 17. This happened a few days ago. Me and my husband were going out on a date. The plan was to have my parents watch over my daughter, but my parents also had plans, meaning my brother was going to be home alone, and they suggested that I let my brother watch over her if he was okay with it. Well, I felt kind of iffy because he's young, and he's your typical immature teenage boy. But I also figured that there's no way that it would go terribly. It'll only be a few hours, and I felt like he would be fine with her, and my brother agreed to do it. Well, I called him at one point to make sure that things were fine and things were going well. Well, when I get back to my parents' house, my parents still weren't home. I expected my brother to be in the living room, but he wasn't. I called out his name, and he said he was upstairs. I find him in his room with my daughter playing video games. Horrors of all horrors. I asked him what he did all night, and he said that he ordered a pizza and played video games with her. I told him that he was supposed to babysit her, not have a boys' night out with her. He couldn't still see what the big deal was, and my daughter said that they had a fun time with him, but I don't care, because in my eyes, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He used this night to goof off, because his parents wouldn't be home, and just really did what he probably would normally do when he was home alone. He just had a +1. When I was leaving, to head home with my daughter, I told him that I wouldn't snitch to our parents, but he needs to do a better job next time. And he still didn't see the issue. In my eyes, what he did wasn't babysitting or watching over her. He treated that night like he was hanging out with one of his boys. I get that he's still a kid himself, but I'm sure even at 17, he knows that that wasn't babysitting. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Oh my goodness, yes, OP, you're the jerk. As coming from someone who has babysat kids a lot, that's a big part of babysitting is playing video games with the kids or watching them play video games. Babysitting is not like it's just you keep the kids alive and entertained. That's the only purpose. If the kids come back unharmed and without wrecking the house, you've done a successful babysitting job. I think OP, first of all, brother's not a mind reader. If OP had very specific expectations of what she wanted him to do with the kid, she needed to communicate those. Like if she wanted him to cook food, that's something you need to say. I think that most people, like I've never had to bathe a kid I babysat for. I think that's the parent's job, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, in the comments, she mentions that she expected the the brother to bathe the kid and stuff like that. You know what my judgment here is, though? Centrifuge. All the way to the centrifuge.
I mean, I don't think it's centrifuge worthy, but I do think OP needs to rethink her idea of babysitting.
Not her, the brother.
Oh no, the brother doesn't go in a centrifuge.
Yeah, he goes in the centrifuge because everyone knows the thing you're supposed to do when you babysit a 4-year-old is play Candyland for the whole time that you're there.
No, that sounds like torture.
And only Candyland. That's it. Nothing else. There are no other options. And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, no, I think that, pizza and video games, perfectly acceptable, as long as they're age-appropriate video games.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think that OP is a little weird with their expectations, and I wouldn't be surprised if the brother told the parents on their own, because this isn't
it's
like...
so normal. Like,
yeah.
Again, like, I've babysat plenty in my time, and pizza is a perfectly acceptable. A lot of parents will even leave like pizza money so you can like order pizza for the kids.
Yeah. But what do the comments have to say?
So Tuesday says, I'm missing something. Every time I babysat a kid, I'm pretty much hanging out. What was OP expecting to happen?
I mean, probably they were supposed to go to the art gallery.
Good cultural experience.
A cultural experience, the play, a ballet, an opera, one of those kinds of things where both of them can sit through a 4-hour-long, art experience.
And then Mary says, please, Bro kept the kid with him. Now, if she were left downstairs in the playpen while Bro gamed upstairs, that would be reason for the centrifuge.
Yeah. I mean, I agree on that. Like, that right there, if he was just ignoring the kid while playing video games himself and being like, she was fine, she only used some of the matches, then, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be great. But, I mean, as far as we're aware, she was well taken care of, so I don't know why the sister has such a problem with this. Speaking of having such a problem with this, our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Confiding in My Husband About a Patient Who is Also My Sister-in-Law? So I'm gonna venture a guess right off the bat on this one and say, yes, that was probably pretty inappropriate. So I'm a 37-year-old female and I work in a sexual health clinic and I genuinely love my job. I feel like I make a difference and I'm married to Alex, a 47-year-old male who owns a gym. My twin brother Scott and his wife Iram, 37-year-old, are huge parts of our lives and we see them multiple times a week. Scott and Alex are close and regularly go to football matches together despite supporting rival teams. Iram and I have been close since school. She comes from a strict religious background where sex isn't discussed. She and Scott have been together since they were 17, married since 20. She has suffered 8 miscarriages, which is relevant here. Recently, Iram came to see me as a patient. She was extremely distressed and said that she was too embarrassed to speak to anyone else first. She had been watching some awful TikTok content and was convinced that she had never had a vaginal orgasm and she was broken and that this might be why she keeps miscarrying. She's always been sexually naive and genuinely believed this meant that she was unworthy of children. I explain that this is absolutely not true, and that many women don't climax through penetrative sex, and that this has no link to fertility or miscarriages. She told me that she doesn't even care about orgasms. Scott satisfies her in other ways, and she loves him deeply, and she enjoys intimacy. She was just terrified that she was to blame. Here's where I messed up. Alex and I often talk about emotionally difficult parts of our workday. I told him about Iram, trusting him completely. Well, a week later, Scott and Alex were drunk watching a football match in a bar with some mutual friends. Scott's team won. Alex lost money. In a drunk and idiotic moment, he shouted across the bar that Scott can't even satisfy his wife. Then told everyone that Iram had been faking orgasms for nearly 20 years. People laughed, and Scott basically ran out. Iram called me in absolute hysterics, saying Scott was leaving her. I offered to come over, but she didn't even want to see me again. The next day, her sister told me that Scott wants a divorce and that they want no contact with me or Alex. Scott told me that he could have coped with her not climaxing if she had been honest, but that lying for 20 years, combined with Alex humiliating him publicly, was too much. He also said that I breached patient confidentiality and plans to report me. I'm shocked my brother would do this. I'm furious with Alex for betraying my trust. I never intended harm. I thought that I was confiding safely in my husband. A divorce and destroying my career over a drunken joke feels ridiculous. Am I the jerk? How do I fix this before it ruins all of our lives? Well, folks, what do you think?
I think that it's a little late to fix this.
Yeah.
This was a HIPAA violation, OP.
Yeah.
That is not something you can do and keep your job a lot of times. This wasn't something you heard at a girls' night. Like, even if it was something said in confidence between friends, it still can be a bit thorny to confide in your partner. But the fact that you told, like, this was a medical situation, told in confidence, and not only did you tell your husband about the situation, but you specifically identified the patient, that is just a gross breach of doctor-patient confidentiality. And that's really all there is to this. You violated her confidentiality, and now you've blown up her life with this, and that's, yeah.
Centrifuge. It works, finally, right?
Yeah, I think it can work.
I finally got the centrifuge right here. The thing is that certainly I understand wanting to communicate with the husband emotionally difficult parts of their job, but I mean, come on, use some common sense here, especially not about people who you're supposed to, that you have a close relationship with. And I think this is part of the reason why you're not even supposed to have people
yes,
as patients, right? That already sounds like it's a medical problem right there, right? This seems like it's bad all around. Like, Iram should not have been able to get an appointment with OP just because of the conflict of interest here. So they just set themselves up for failure. I don't know why this was even allowed, and now everyone's gonna suffer the consequences, right? This is why things like this aren't allowed. There's just too much room for familiarity, right? And welcome, Marcia. So we're happy to have you with us. But what do the comments have to say?
Tuesday says, I smell a HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
And then Mary says, yeah, you're the jerk. This isn't complaining. That's gossip. Tuesday says, OP is a jerk. Her husband is a bigger jerk, but he should have never heard it to begin with. I don't think sister-in-law is wrong because she was in a confidential space and does love her husband. And then Mary says, how to fix it? OP needs a muzzle. And then Tuesday says, sister-in-law's husband is a mild jerk for how he reacted, but he was also caught off guard, so I can't fully blame him.
It's a bad situation. It's a bad, tragic situation that could have been avoided if the clinic had done the right thing and said, no, you're not able to have an appointment with OP.
Well, they may not have known. I mean, it was OP's responsibility to say, sorry, I can't see this patient. Because the clinic themselves, lots of people have the same last name.
And that's fair too, right?
So if it wasn't explicitly identified that, oh, these two people know each other, like, that's why the OP would have to be like, sorry, I can't treat this person.
But speaking of breakup worthy things, I don't know if that was breakup worthy, but I just saw the breakup word in the title here. My boyfriend, a 24-year-old male, wants me, a 23-year-old female, to sign an NDA. Is this worth breaking up over? So my boyfriend of 2 years has asked me to sign a non-disclosure agreement. The agreement would prohibit me from discussing to any third party, including friends and coworkers, etc., any private communications, photographs, relationship details, disagreements, allegations, rumors, or commentary about him or our relationship, both online and offline. Wow, what a deal. It also restricts indirect or vague social media posts, reposts, like shares, or any content that could be viewed as disparaging. The agreement includes an injunctive relief provision allowing him to seek court orders to stop the disclosures without posting a bond. This imposes liquidated damages of $1 million per breach, with each individual post, message, disclosure, or communication treated as a separate breach. It also makes the breaching party responsible for all attorney fees and costs. It prohibits disclosure of existence of terms of the agreement itself. The confidentiality obligations last up to 10 years, with some provisions applying indefinitely, like the recordings and photographs. The agreement primarily protects him. It does not contain meaningful exceptions for seeking advice, emotional support, or safety-related disclosures, except in later proposed amendments. He's now proposing amendments to allow disclosures only to family and the therapist, and to reduce the penalty. I haven't signed anything. I've declined, and he wants to discuss amending it. All right, folks, what do you think about this one? Should OP sign this?
No, OP run. But also, would he sign the exact same statement with those exact same terms for you? Like if he discloses anything about you or the relationship? Like,
clearly not, because he doesn't have a two-way street.
Yeah,
here,
like
right?
why is it on OP? So like if you want to turn it on him and see what he says, like do that. But also just get out of here. I would be surprised if this contract was legally enforceable in any way, shape, or form, but you still don't want to sign it. You still don't want it to have him, like, this is controlling. Yes, like there are times when you should not be sharing your relationship details with other people, but there are also times when it is imperative to your safety to share these details. And you don't want to be with someone who is like trying to oh, you can't even tell anyone this agreement exists. You have to sign to this thing and never talk to anyone about our relationship problems. It's just like there's so much room for abuse here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I don't understand what the motivation would be for OP to sign this at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Why would OP sign something like this?
Right.
Where, is he going to break up with her if she doesn't sign it? Is that what's going to go on? Because honestly, she's not losing anything if she is being forced to sign an NDA, right? Like, no. And the fact of the matter is that what she should do is take this NDA, post it to social media, and be like, hey, my boyfriend wants me to sign this. What do you all think of this? And then that way, that's already kind of like out there about like the NDA and stuff like that.
I
right?
love that idea. And also, like, then she, like, do you think he should have to sign one of these too? And like show him all the comments, be like, look, everyone wants you to, because she hasn't signed the NDA, so there's nothing to stop her from disclosing it now.
Yeah, she should expose all of this right now and do as much as she can right now with saying like, this is what he's wanting. Should I do this? And just being like, I'm just making sure that I have all my ducks in a row beforehand. I'm sure that will make him super jazzed about this whole situation. He should feel embarrassed by this because this is just an absolutely ridiculous request, right? You can't talk to anybody about your relationship at all. I mean, this just sounds like the pinnacle of controlling, right? But with lawyers involved, so great. And like you said, I doubt it's legally even enforceable. And, and Marsha's saying hi again. Hi, Marsha! Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're happy to have you here. I don't think you heard me the first time around, so we're happy that you have joined us. But what do the comments have to say?
Mary says, sounds like the boyfriend has been burned in the past. Sad to hear, but not OP's problem to fix. I would walk away or lawyer up. Yeah,
well, that might be what has to happen here. Like, she might have to lawyer up. She may very well have to lawyer up. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Pushing My Husband Out of the Bed? Speaking of lawyering up. My husband, a 34-year-old, and I, a 27-year-old, have been married for 6 months. He's developed this silly habit of pulling my panties from the back with his finger and then letting the elastic hit me. He'd do it when I was asleep, and I would startle awake and feel terrible pain. He says that it's fun, especially when it comes to bed and finds me sleeping. Best way to wake me up. I told him that I hated it and that he needed to stop. Every time, he just looked at me and smiled like I was joking. It all came to a head a few nights ago. He stayed up playing PS5 and then came into the room. He climbed into the bed and did it again. I woke up screaming and absolutely lost it. I pushed him with my 2 hands out of the bed. He fell backwards and landed on the floor. He asked what in the world was wrong with me and that he was just messing with me, but I acted petty and was aggressive. I told him that he shouldn't have kept pulling my panties, sometimes I wear pajama pants, and wake me up and cause me pain. He cussed me out and then went to sleep in the guest room. We haven't talked since, but he's wanting apologies, saying that pushing him was borderline abuse. Am I the jerk? All right, excuse me, folks, what do you think?
He had it coming. I think that, no, OP, that was self-defense. You have told him that you do not like this. You just were startled awake and in pain, and it's your natural reaction to shove whatever is causing you that pain out of bed. You have communicated with your words. You do not like this. You do not want this. What's so funny about seeing you in pain and suffering? What's so funny about snapping you awake in the middle of the night when you're trying to get your rest? What he is doing is not okay for you. It's not okay for your comfort. It's not good for your health. Why is him getting kicks and giggles more important than your well-being?
I mean, I know some people who come out of sleep swinging, not even like on purpose, but like you wake somebody up like this and you're just a rude bully, right? Who does this? Like, this is not the appropriate way to wake anybody up. And I think that I don't know what this guy is thinking, because honestly, it just seems especially cruel, because I would not want to be woken up, especially not woken up to having like an elastic snapped at me, right? So I don't know. He needs to grow up, and the fact that he's like accusing OP of abuse,
it's Darvo right there.
Like, I think that if anyone is like, sleep deprivation and waking people up out of sleep, I mean, those are tactics that are used to torture people, right? And I'm not saying this raises to the level of torture, but it certainly isn't a good look to deprive OP of sleep and wake them up all over some stupid game that he enjoys. Like, he just needs to grow up, right? OP needs to find a new partner, right?
Yeah, just push him out of the house.
Yeah. But what do the comments have to say?
I don't see any comments for this one.
No comments yet. So that's all right. They might even, I think we have a small delay anyways, because I see Marsha's last comment, so we didn't see your comment until we had already gone on to the next story here. We'll give it like 2 more seconds, because there's probably like at most a 30-second delay here, but All right, well, the internet has spoken, folks. Sorry if you were typing something and then we went
Mary has one.
Mary is now here.
Not the jerk. This guy is too immature for an adult relationship. OP was aggressive. Partner started it. I would not only have pushed boyfriend out of bed, I would have relegated him to a timeout in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, timeout in the corner probably was the best approach here.
I mean, honestly, like anything that, short of he did not suffer a terrible accident. He was just pushed out of bed. He should be thankful.
Amber's like, he ran into my knife.
He ran into my knife 10 times.
Speaking of speaking of time out in the corner, our next letter is titled I'm not gonna go the stabby route, folks. It's ridiculous. Am I the jerk for using my roommate's groceries to feed my family, my friends, and giving her the money to replace them? So I'm a 22-year-old female, and I live in a condo my parents bought for my brothers. My sister and I rose when we went to the university. I think used when we went to the university. They did this to save money on dorms and a meal plan. Also, to have an investment property after we're all done with school. All 4 of us have used it, and except for the years when my brother and my sister and I overlapped, they always had the other room rented out to other students through the church and through the community. This one, tangentially, is important. Well, my current roommate is a sophomore and she is a little wild. There's nothing wrong with that. She goes out a lot, but she's a good roommate in general, except for one thing. She uses up my groceries all the time and then leaves me money to go and buy more. It's always enough to cover what she's used and sometimes more than enough. Like me, her folks subsidize her life. So this isn't a huge problem except for my time going to the Costco or whatever. Well, on Thursday, my boyfriend and I were using a rotisserie chicken to make supper for friends we were having over to play board games with because we all had no classes that Friday. Well, when we get into the house, my chicken was gone with some of the other groceries that we had bought. My boyfriend suggested that we just order out delivery, but I was just kind of miffed that she would do this with food that I had set aside for this. Well, I looked in the fridge to see what I could use up, and there was some ground beef thawing out. So we made up extra loaded nachos. When my roommate got home, she was angry and asked to speak with me privately. We went to her bedroom, where she tore into me for using her groceries. Pretty darn ironic, I think. I already had the money ready to replace the beef and chips and stuff that we had used. She said that she didn't have time to go shopping before her friend showed up to eat and pregame before going out. She took the money and ordered takeout, but is still upset. On Sunday, we had another talk about it. She says that we will not use each other's groceries anymore. She is upset because the takeout was more expensive than the groceries and she was short on money for groceries for the week. I pointed out that she had eaten my food on multiple previous occasions. She said that it was different because I have a car and my parents' credit card. Her parents give her access to a bank account, but they track her money to see how she's spending it. Well, she is so mad that she wants to move out. I think that is an overreaction myself, but I can't control how she feels. I asked her if she was seriously upset over food, and she said yes. So I told my parents that they might need a new tenant in the fall. I'm going to law school, so I have a few more years here. It got back to her parents, and it became a whole thing. Now she's upset that I complained to my parents and got her in trouble, which was not supposed to happen. I didn't think that I was in the wrong to use the ingredients since she had done it in the past. I also didn't think that I was wrong to tell my parents about a new tenant. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, from the title of the story had me thinking a completely different route, but yeah, no, turnabout is fair play. The roommate was the one who was taking OP's food first. OP was counting on this rotisserie chicken being there. Like, it's absurdity of the roommate being like assuming that OP can just drop everything to get something new. Like, OP was planning on using this for this dinner. The roommate did not check.
Yeah.
OP had communicated, hey, can you stop taking my food? And the roommate just kept doing it anyway. And it took actually seeing the consequences of that for the roommate to see why this isn't okay.
Yeah. Well, I do think this is kind of a consequences of our own action type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did they expect? At a certain point, like, they took OP's food, they used up OP's food, and OP was like, you know what? I don't have time to go to the grocery store and to, do stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get the, stuff that's in the fridge and use it. Now, again, I think that the roommate is overreacting, but I think they're also like trying to strong arm OP in some respects. It sounds like OP is the property manager, or at least that's what it kind of sounds like in the comments. And so I think that they were kind of hoping to get OP in trouble with their parents about this because of, X, Y, and Z. So, but I mean, OP was trying to do the responsible thing and let the parents know that they might have to find another, roommate for the fall so they can start preparing for that. I don't think that's unreasonable. It's not like OP went and tattled and was like, my roommate's all the time eating my food and stuff like that. All they said was like, my roommate has decided that it's no longer mutually beneficial for them to live here. You might want to be looking out for another person to occupy their space. So I don't think that's wrong at all. But what do the comments have to say?
So Mary says, time for hard and fast rules that both parties agree to abide by.
Mm-hmm.
And Tuesday says, not the jerk, rules for thee and not for me, I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that one's a common theme. A common theme.
It is a very common theme.
Speaking of rules for me but not for thee, am I the jerk for spending some of my grandchildren's education funds on a new boat? I'll let you all take a second to guess whether this is centrifuge worthy or not. Amber doesn't get to guess. She already knows the story. She's read it. I am a 54-year-old and I have 2 kids. They are both married and in their mid to late 30s. We have a decent relationship, I think. My wife and I made sure that we both got through college without debt, that they both got through college without debt. I helped both purchase their first homes with a $20,000 gift. No strings attached. When my son moved away for his wife's work, I helped him pack. I almost said work wife's. I helped him get ready to go away with his work wife.
That would be a very different story.
Very different story. Very, very different. They alternate Christmas between me and their in-laws. This last Christmas, it was my turn. We have a nice visit, and then the 5 of us, their spouses were included. We had a talk. I didn't press, I didn't push. I just asked if they still planned on starting families. My kids looked at each other like they had been waiting for this. Please note that my son, the older one, has been married for 11 years. I guess this was something that they had talked about without including me. They said that they were happy with their lives and that kids weren't really something that they wanted to bring into the world. I asked them about adopting. They both said that it wasn't something that they had considered. They are adults and they can live however they want. I would love grandchildren, but I don't feel that I'm owed them. I literally live 5 minutes from my brother, and I see his grandchildren all the time. I like that I can leave when they get loud. Well, I had money set aside to help with my grandchildren's education. Now I knew that it wasn't needed for that purpose, so I bought myself a new boat. I sold my old one. Yes, I am well aware that a boat is a hole in the water that you throw money into. I don't care. I can afford it. Well, my kids saw a picture of the new boat on Facebook. They asked why I upgraded from my old family boat. I was truthful and I said that I wanted a new boat and that money had opened up in my budget. They asked what money, and I said that since they weren't having kids, there was no purpose for an education fund. They kind of went nuts. They said that I was ridiculous for spending $130,000 on a boat at my age. I said that my retirement funds were still topped off and I hadn't asked them for any help, so I didn't see an issue. A lot of back and forth, and they admitted that they kind of expected me to leave them a good inheritance. I almost lost my head. I am only 54, and hopefully I have a couple of decades more to enjoy life. I said that they could have whatever was left after I finished with it, but that I didn't actually owe them anything now, and that they were kind of jerks for planning on using my money. Should I have continued holding on to the money that was never going to be used for its intended purpose? All right, folks, what do you think of this one?
Not the jerk. I mean, it was very kind of OP to set aside educational funds for future grandchildren. Those grandchildren never materialized, so OP used the money for something else. I think it's very not cool of the kids to be like picking over OP's estate. Like, even if
they're not even dead yet. It's like the Monty Python scene in the Holy Grail where he's like, "I'm not dead yet. Bring out your dead."
Yeah. Like that's just. I mean.
It's distasteful.
It's very distasteful.
I mean, who goes around to their parents who are only 54 and are like, "Hey, parents, by the way, we're already planning on your demise here. Make sure to leave us plenty of liquid cash." I mean, I don't think OP did anything wrong here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's their money. They were planning on using this money for grandkids. They made sure that their kids weren't going to have kids, and they're like, "Meh, you know what? It's fine. I would love to have grandkids, but I'm also fine." It would be different if OP was like, say, using this money as like leverage against them and being like, oh, dangling it in front of them for years and being like, "Oh, you need to have grandkids, otherwise I'm going to go spend the money on a boat," type of thing, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, it seems like OP didn't even only told them where they get the money from when people started pushing.
Yeah.
Because like, it's not, I understand kids being concerned about their parents' finances. I'm not saying the kids are wrong for having concerns, because the $30,000 purchase is a huge purchase, but OP is also a grown adult. And so it's not really the kid's business what he spends his money on in that respect.
But also, like, we're talking about a guy who literally put both of his kids through college
Mm-hmm.
and then literally set money aside for future grandchildren and literally gave them like 40,000 between the two of them, $20,000 each for a down payment on a house. They don't sound like they're hurting for money.
No, they
right?
don't.
They don't. I mean, I think that the kids are just way too worried about what OP is doing with their money here, right?
Yeah, well, and it sounds like they're way too worried about their inheritance.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, again, like, really.
Like, if OP was going to the casino and, like, losing their shirt every weekend, yeah, I could see being like, hey, maybe you should slow down on the gambling here, right? But this isn't the case. They're not gambling. They're not they're not literally, like, breaking up the money piles into the backyard and then lighting it on fire, right? And then doing a leaf dive into it, right? Recklessly, right? That would be understandable about them being upset by this. Like, Dad, you're going to catch yourself on fire one of these days when you're jumping into your burning pile of money. Don't do that.
Well, no. I don't even know where you come with these scenarios, but they're intriguing.
What do the comments have to say?
So Mary says, wow, I was all set to judge, but we're talking non-existent kids, so no reason why OP can't use this educational fund to teach the non-parents a lesson, not the jerk.
Yeah. I mean, I just think these people are just being extremely ridiculous. But Dad, we or Mom, I don't know if it's a dad or mom, but Dad or Mom, we already dug your grave. Why aren't you stepping into it?
I mean, that is what it feels like.
We have a nice headstone picked out for you. It's solid granite. Can't you appreciate the efforts that we took to bury you alive?
I mean, I don't think they're going to go for a spring for a solid granite tombstone, Brian. I think they're going to be spring for a rock.
They might. Speaking of springing for, oh no, that's a terrible segue. Our next letter is titled, Should I Continue Babysitting for a Lady Whose Baby is a Doll? Like I said, a terrible one. This is actually a little bit of a serious one in the respect that this deals with some mental health stuff. So I'm a 19-year-old female, and I posted an advertisement that I babysit. A lady from the area responded that she has an 11-month-old baby doll boy that I call Toby. I told her that it would be 13 pounds an hour, and she said that she was fine and that she would be gone for 3 hours. When I turned up, she greeted me while holding what looks like a baby. She handed me it, saying that this is Toby. Then I realized it was a doll. I wasn't sure if maybe she had given me the doll to give to Toby, or if she was actually wanting me to babysit the doll, so I asked, are there any other children in the house? So, if I had misunderstood her, I could pass it off as a joke, but I wouldn't upset her if she really didn't think the doll was a baby. She said no, it was just Toby. She made me aware that there's a baby monitor around just so that she can have peace of mind that he's okay. I said, of course, and she kissed the doll on the head before leaving. I basically just pretended the doll was real, hugging it, and I put it in a bouncer that she had, and I let it sleep in the crib. I went to the toilet at one point, and on the wall there was a picture of a real baby that looks similar to the doll. So I'm assuming this is her way of grieving. I cried a bit to myself in the bathroom at this realization, but I put on a happy face when I went downstairs, and I continued looking after the baby. I changed its nappy so that if she was watching, she could have peace of mind. Well, once she came back, she asked how he was, and I told her that he was so well behaved. I said because he was more well behaved than most babies, I'll only charge her for an hour. She messaged me again, asking if I could babysit another time. I haven't responded yet. My friends don't think that I should because it's taking advantage of her when she's clearly mentally ill. I wouldn't want to take advantage of her. It's a really sad situation. They also think that I should tell her that it's just a doll, but I don't know if I should be the one to do that. I don't know if that's the best way to go about this situation. I think that it's not really my place. All right, folks, what do you think about this situation?
I mean, I don't think OP is in the wrong here. I think OP handled this really well. And I don't think OP would be in the jerk either for continuing to babysit for the doll. It sounds like this is her coping mechanism, and she wants to make sure that Toby is taken care of while she's away. And OP is able to do that. And so I don't see, it's not like if she would be worried if she sees Toby as a baby and can't leave him alone, like this gives her a chance to get out of the house and go places without Toby. And it gives her that peace of mind and lets her get out, go places and whatnot. So it's not taking advantage, it's helping her to be able to live her life. Does she likely need counseling? Yes, but that's not something OP can do. And telling her this is just a doll is not going to help her either. Like, that's a conversation she needs to have with a mental health professional. OP is not a licensed mental health professional. That could easily cause more harm than good.
This is a really, really difficult situation. And I think that you could talk to a dozen different people and come up with a dozen different responses on this one. I think that the friends are right to be concerned about OP taking advantage of her, because like this could be a situation where someone could be taken advantage of, right? But OP approached it with a lot of sensitivity and is approaching it in a respectful way, right? And I mean, I think that's the best that anyone could do in this situation. It's a hard thing because she's clearly still grieving and still having a really hard time with this whole situation. And it's not OP's place to break her illusion, right? Like, this is, again, the only person who really needs to be doing that is between her and her therapist. And I don't know, like, the thing is, like, there isn't a child here who's going to be in distress, right? So there isn't any kind of like issue with welfare or anything like that. Because if there was another kid in the household and there was actual like welfare, a reason for OP to believe that the welfare of another child was at risk, yeah, then maybe that's the time to kind of step in and talk to somebody about this, right? There's no child welfare issue at hand. This is a grieving mother who is, very clearly sad and finding a way to cope, right? And I think that as long as OP is approaching it with sensitivity, not making light of the situation, not, mocking or ridiculing her, then that's the best that anyone can do in a situation like this. It is tough. It is tough to know the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it sounds like OP handled this about as best as possible, and not everyone would. So if OP is like declines to take the kid anymore, and then someone else does, like, there's nothing to say they will be, how they'll react about this.
Yeah, they may treat this more flippantly. They may be like, oh, you're blah, 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 blah. And maybe OP is like one of the first people who's actually taken her seriously and has treated her with respect, right? And that might go a long way towards helping her anyways, right? If she feels like she can take get away from the baby long enough, then maybe this is what she needs to actually start healing too, right?
Yeah, start rebuilding a life, with us separately and whatnot.
Yeah, and so I don't think if OP continued to babysit for her, that would be a wrong thing. I think that it would be a compassionate thing as long as they're doing it with an act of compassion. So, but what do the comments have to say on that one?
So Mary says, this isn't taking advantage, it's giving this woman peace of mind.
Yeah.
Let friends and family offer counseling. OP just provides service as a caregiver.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really well phrased comment. All right, we have a couple more stories, and then I'm gonna jump into the tea time and that kind of stuff here. But I think we're really on schedule here. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for locking up my stuff so my wife won't touch it?" So I like to 3D print and paint miniatures. I have a whole work area downstairs with a lot of tools and art supplies. My wife also likes arts and crafts and will sometimes take my stuff. The problem is that she has ADHD and never puts my supplies back. I have found my expensive paint literally in the bathroom before. She has used my airbrush before and just left it without cleaning it. I spent hours getting it to work again because the paint had hardened. I have talked to her multiple times to put things back, and she claims that she will, and she never does. One of the reasons that she grabs my stuff is because she never knows where her art stuff is. Well, I'm sick of not having my stuff where it's supposed to be, and so I can deal with share items being in weird places, just not this. Talking to her has never fixed the issue, neither has asking her not to use my stuff. I put a lock on my cabinet where my art supplies are. When she saw it, she was mad, and we got into an argument. She's mad that I'm locking her out of stuff in our shared home. My point was everything above. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jar. Just because you're partners does not mean you are entitled to each other's possessions. Like, you are each allowed to have your own separate things. Now, I do think that she may find it helpful to work with a therapist who specializes in ADHD to develop some tricks to help her remember to put things away and remember where things are. It will make her life a lot easier if she's not always having to take OP's art stuff because she knows where her own art stuff is. Like, it sounds like this is a problem for both of you. And there are techniques and tools that you can use to get better about keeping track of things. So that she may benefit from that, but OP is not in the wrong for not wanting their supplies that they need to do their artwork to just be taken and left willy-nilly.
Yeah, and also OP does say in the comments that they both have fund money that's an equal amount. So she spends her fund money, but then she loses her stuff or misplaces it or destroys it, and OP takes care of their stuff, right? And that's the difference here, right? I can understand OP being frustrated by this situation. This is very, very frustrating. OP is clearly somebody who takes care of their stuff, and their wife is not somebody who takes care of their stuff. And, if she can't be trusted to take care of her own stuff, then she certainly isn't going to take care of OP's stuff, right? But I do agree with Amber here that maybe her going into therapy and working on some coping mechanisms, learning how to take care of her stuff, or putting it away or trying to remember to put it away, that's really, I think, the best that OP can do in this situation, and she can do in this situation.
Yeah, because you can build routines, and set alarms and stuff like that. Like, and I'm not an expert in this area, but there are things you can do to make it easier to remember where things are and to remember to put things away.
But what do the comments have to say?
Mary says, time for a starter kit for wife, which when she demonstrates that she can take care of these supplies, OP can revisit the issue. But there is no reason to waste money to spare the wife's feelings.
Yeah, unfortunately, it sounds like that's already been tried. She's not successful at it. Speaking of already tried and not successful at it, am I the jerk for not giving my son his main birthday present? Maybe not a great segue. I'd like to start off by saying that my son hasn't had a tantrum like this in a very long time. This was unprecedented behavior for him. I'm using a throwaway because this is a bit of an embarrassing situation for me as a father, and I haven't told anyone outside the family. My son loves history and recently had been talking about a lot about the Visigoths. My son has been getting into reading history books since last year. So far, he has 2, so I thought that it would be a good idea to gift him for his 14th birthday a book about the Visigoth king. However, I thought that just one book probably wasn't a lot, and I also bought him a book that was about math and in what instances does math control our life and things around it. Well, at the same time, my son hates math a lot, and I had been trying to help him with math since 5th grade. I'm not a math guy or anything like that, but it's very basic what he's learning. His hate for math to me just comes from the fact that he had a bad teacher. I don't think that math itself is the problem, but ultimately his hate for his math teachers unfortunately translated into math itself. The reason I bought him the book was for him to somewhat try to look at math differently, or at least see how math isn't just the boring stuff that they teach you at school. Well, his birthday came, and we had to give him his presents. Well, then came my turn, and I first gave him the math book. He had a huge tantrum, and I had not seen this since he was 10 or 11. He threw the book away and said that I knew how much he hated math, and I gifted him a math book. I told him to at least give it a try later, and just when I was about to give him the actual book that he wanted, he said F you and began crying. And I found that completely unacceptable. He rejected my gift and insulted me over it. At that point, I got really mad and I told him to go to his room and that he was grounded. The rest of the party was pretty silent since my parents, sister, and wife were very clearly shocked at what just had taken place. After they left, I took away his computer and Nintendo Switch. I did return it to him this Monday after a week, and things between the two of us are going okay again. However, I still haven't given him his actual birthday present. My wife is insisting that I should give it to him, but the truth is that I found what he did extremely disrespectful, and I really don't feel like he deserves it now. At the same time, as his father and adult, I do know that he's 14 and he may regret what he did on his birthday. But I think that was extremely childish of an outburst. I will eventually give it to him, but he has to somewhat prove that he deserves it. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just enabling this type of behavior. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I'm going to say everyone's in the wrong a little bit, but OP much more so. Why on earth would you get him a book about something he hates and present it as a birthday present? Like, if you wanted to get him the math book separately and just like one day that's not his birthday, be like, hey, I found this book, it might help you. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But taking the subject that he hates, and it sounds like he may have some trauma around, and being like, here's a math book for your birthday, that is not okay. Now, the son was a little overboard, but you note that he's acting childish. He's still a literal child. Like, yes, 14 is like old enough that you shouldn't be cursing out your parents, but this is your birthday. You're expecting something to be a gift, and instead you get handed your worst subject, the thing you absolutely hate, as like a birthday present. Like, it just feels such a cruel thing to do to a kid that I don't blame the son for being upset, even if he didn't handle himself as best he could have.
I could never have imagined acting out like that, even at a bad gift when I was a kid. Like, I've gotten bad gifts as a kid, right? And I mean, it really is hurtful when you get a gift that it feels like somebody doesn't really understand you, right? And I can understand the, son feeling that way, hurt, and maybe even a little betrayed by the fact that their parents, that their dad did this. I mean, it may show that the son may feel like their dad doesn't understand them and that they're not in their corner, and that's a really difficult type of thing. But I think that his outburst was inappropriate. I think that it was fine to punish him for the outburst, but I think that OP handled this also in a really poor way, like giving the kid that gift first of all things. Like, if you really wanted to give him the book on math, maybe not during his birthday party, right?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, this was not a gift. OP's like, well, I got it because I needed more stuff. I'm sure your son has other things he likes. Like, why would you buy something he hates? It sounds like OP just doesn't like that the son hates math and wants to push him. Even though OP's not a math guy himself, he was trying to like push the math on the son. And so it's worse than even not feeling understood. It probably feels like the son feels like his dad is pressuring him and trying to force this thing that he hates on him.
Yeah. But what do the comments have to say?
Tuesday says, you're the jerk. His birthday is not the place to teach him to be more appreciative of a thing they all know he doesn't like. OP should have bought a similar themed gift to the book. And then Mary says, I was on the kid's corner until he dropped the F-bomb. Still, a math book would be a better birthday gift for OP rather than his kid. What does the wheel say?
Yeah, the wheel probably says, I don't know. I mean, we could ask the wheel. Let's find out. We'll see. Oops. It looks like the wheel is down. 1 second. Oh no. Wheel, what is going on with you? Oh, there he goes. Okay, 1 second. We'll see what the wheel has to say. There, the wheel was broken, folks, but we have redone the wheel.
Revived it.
Revived. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. So, I guess you're the jerk, and even Karma's taking notes. Which, I mean, Karma should be taking notes. All right, so we'll do a tea time, and then I have a few stories that I do want to finish up on. Some wholesome stories here. So
get a bunch of wholesome ones.
Let's go. Tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, shere's a joke.
What does a frog do when its car breaks down?
The frog, it does exactly what frogs always do when their cars break down. They hop to it and find a new car to hijack, because frogs don't have money, so they don't buy cars. So the only way they can get cars are by hijacking cars off of the road, right? And so you see a little frog on the side of the road, you're like, oh, This frog, it's just fine. It's a little tiny little guy. And so you open up your door for them, and the next thing you know, the frog's got a knife to your throat, and you're like, I'm sorry, Mr. Frog. And then you jump out of the way, and the frog takes the car, and it's on its way again. So that's what the frog did.
It gets towed away.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. It's okay joke. It's probably better than my punchline.
I thought you were so funny because, like, years and years ago, my dad, I don't know, I think he just found it on the side of the road, but like found a plush frog that he put in like the passenger seat that he called the hitchhiker that he carried around in his car. And then we found like a little like plastic frog, like copper frog that we put in our car for our own little hitchhiker.
And then it got lost. I don't know
did.
whatever happened to that little tiny frog. It's too bad. We had it there for a long time. Yeah, it looks like Tuesday you're saying that you're going to guess Mega Mint and that you're making lemongrass tea. Well, hopefully you enjoy that lemongrass tea. And you're having some English breakfast tea, Mary. It's not breakfast time. How can you have breakfast tea? No, I'm just kidding. Bagels and
bagless and stringless.
Oh, bagless and stringless. Oh, yes. Well, that is actually the preferred way. I like the tea better when it's when you strain it through like one of the little tea strainer things. I always enjoy that.
Tea infuser.
The tea infuser. Words escape me. And yeah, I actually have Earl Grey, which is bagged and tagged, and that kind of came out wrong.
I have a Nessie tea infuser. I don't have it with me, but that was like my favorite thing about loose leaf tea is then I have like a little Nessie poking out of my mug.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of a little Nessie poking out of your mug, our next letter is titled, "I'm pregnant and my husband has changed and it's left me speechless." Well, I'm a 33-year-old female and my husband, a 32-year-old male, have been together for almost 8 years and married nearly 3. We always knew that we wanted kids, and like everyone, we had our disagreements, but we worked really hard to build healthy communication channels and grow together. One of our biggest areas that we both tended to dig in our heels has related to our pets, what's best for them and what they most need, etc. So when I got a positive pregnancy test in June, I didn't know what to expect from my husband. I had hoped that he would understand and have sympathy for the aspects that he couldn't understand. I hoped that he wouldn't leave me to do it all by myself or expect me to take care of him on top of carrying our baby. But I never expected the change that I witnessed over the past 8 months. First trimester, he jumped into all the household tasks like dishes, laundry, cleaning the litter box, etc., while I just tried to survive. I didn't have to ask him, he just did it all. Well, the second trimester, he also began running to the store and any craving that I had. He took the role of being my personal chef. Whatever you want to eat, whatever time of day, just put in the order and I'll make it for you, were his exact words. Now in the third trimester, he has evolved into the most gentle and caring version of himself that I've ever known. The pets are all over him for snuggles and love. He speaks to my belly, and our baby girl immediately responds. He falls asleep with his hand on my bump. Other baby girls that we see about can't keep their eyes off of him. It's been the most beautiful, heartwarming thing to witness. If I have aching feet, he's ready with a lotion for a massage. If I'm upset, he's there as my steady emotional rock. He gets the door for me every time. He holds my hand on the icy winter walks to make sure that I don't slip. As I feel more self-conscious about my appearance, he makes me feel beautiful every pound I gain. Well, one afternoon, he came home from work to find me on the couch literally crying over spilled milk. He cleaned everything up. He threw the soiled garments in the washer, and he drew me a bath. The hot water heater wasn't big enough to handle the laundry and the bath, so my bath was lukewarm. He then proceeded to boil 3 pots of water to heat up the tub, and he finished by bringing me a whole pregnancy-approved charcuterie board. Thank you. The level of support and encouragement that I've received from my husband going through this ridiculous process brings me to tears. I can't put into words how thankful I am to have him as my partner. He is so excited to be a dad, and he is showing me how amazing he will be as a dad before our baby isn't even here. So there are so many negative stories on Reddit about partners being hyper-controlling, having unrealistic expectations of their wives during pregnancy and motherhood, disassociating from the pregnancy process or not fully realizing the scale of change and added stress women experience by growing a human. So I had to share because more people need to know that good partners do exist, that they can be exactly what you need and more. And you can fall in love with each other deeper than you ever imagined through the process. You don't have to settle. You don't have to do it alone. The right person is out there for each of us. And if you're willing to go on a long, scary, and sometimes lonely adventure to find them, you will in the end. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I'm really glad that OP and their husband seem to have such a good relationship. So that's really nice.
Yeah. Welcome, Jason. That depends what kind of requests there are. So sometimes if you give the request beforehand, then I can do it because I actually have to prepare these. These are actually not directly from on Reddit the way I have them set up. I actually download the stories and then I turn them into PDFs. So that's why there's actually some preparation involved with stories. So that depends. That depends. If you give me a story that I've already downloaded, I might actually be able to pull it up for you.
And then Mary says, well, that took a turn I wasn't expecting. This bodes well for the future. Father's Day will be a day to pull out all the stops, OP. And then Tuesday says, thank you for sharing this sweet story. Everyone deserves love and respect like this relationship. I love love and people in love. This just warms my heart.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for packing my daughter extra food for a kid in her class without asking the school first? I'm a 38-year-old male and I grew up really poor. Like, go to school hungry and pretend you're not poor. It's something that I don't talk about much, but it definitely shaped me. Yesterday, my daughter, a 7-year-old, came home and asked if I could pack her 2 snacks instead of 1. I asked her why, and she said that there's this boy in her class who didn't eat that day, so she gave him half of hers. This hit me hard because when I was her age, a girl in my class used to quietly share her lunch with me when I had nothing. It meant more to me than she probably ever knew. So today, I packed my daughter an extra snack and told her that it was okay if she wanted to share. I didn't make a big speech, I just told her that being kind is never a bad thing. When my wife found out, she was upset. She said that I should have talked to the teacher or the school first, and that it's not our responsibility to feed other kids. She's worried about allergies, school rules, and that we might make the other child's parents uncomfortable. I'd understand her comments, but I also feel like we're talking about a kid sharing a granola bar, not running an underground lunch program. To me, stopping my daughter from helping when she wants feels wrong. Now my wife says I overstepped and undermined her, and that I'm letting my emotions from my childhood cloud my judgment. So am I the jerk for letting my daughter share food with a hungry classmate without clearing it with the school first? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. Schools understand that kids share food, which is why part of why they're so strict about food allergies. So hopefully, the school has already made it clear of what allergens cannot be present in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
The other things are not really things you have to worry about. Like, yes, you don't want to poison kids, but kids are going to share snacks, whether they tell their parents or not, which is why the schools are very on it with allergens. And so I think what OP's daughter did and what OP did is really kind.
Yeah, I think that's a very kind thing. I mean, who would know better than OP, right? About how it feels to be in the boy's situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everyone should kind of leave it to the expert in this particular case, right? Like OP is doing a very kind and compassionate thing. And the daughter is doing a very kind and compassionate thing, right? And I don't think that there's anything wrong with compassion. And the wife saying, well, it's not my responsibility to feed the children. You know what? I think that it's all adults' responsibilities to do whatever they can to make sure that the future generation is well taken care of and well fed and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe it would be difficult to feed every hungry child out there, but that doesn't mean that you can't start with one child, right? And one hungry child is one less mouth to feed, right? And again, we're talking about our granola bar too on top of that. I mean, I wouldn't even object if she packed an extra sandwich or something like that and just gave it to them if they wanted to, right? So I don't know. I think that this is a very sweet thing that they're doing, and I don't think that OP should be discouraged from this in the least, right? But what do the comments have to say?
Mary says, "Oh my heart, I can understand that caution should be taken, but daughter and OP are true angels."
And our last letter. Our last letter is titled, "I found a teenager behind my trash can and made friends." So I'm a 50-year-old man, and my wife and I moved to another state about a year ago for relocation for my job. We had not made a lot of friends for a while, as neither of us really go out and meet people or join a club, etc. kind of people. Well, one night, about 4 months ago, I went outside to take the trash out our trash. And as soon as I walk out the back door, I notice a teenager crouched behind the trash can. He sees me and raises a finger to his lips and barely whispers shush. Well, I ask him what he's doing, and I am immediately scolded, which immediately confuses me, for not shushing. He whispers, "I'm playing laser tag with my friends. Please don't give me up." Well, at this point, I'm staring at this kid, wondering why this is happening when he whispers, "Wanna play?" So I whisper back, because he just scolded me for not shushing, "Play laser tag?" And he responds, "Yeah, I've got the other gun here." Well, when we play in teams, and one of the friends moved, so we're down one. And he hands me the laser tag gun. And essentially, that's how I ended up playing laser tag with 3 16-year-old boys for 3 hours that night. Now my wife and I are friends with her parents. We have barbecues on weekends, and my wife will have lunch with one or all of the mothers. I will do the same or go fish or golf with the fathers. And of course, there's still laser tag. They still knock on my door at least twice a week, and my wife makes sure that they don't want anything that, my wife makes sure that they don't want for anything, and she's baked stuff. They always do, and I'm not allowed to eat them with them. And then we play laser tag. And it's all started because I found a kid hiding behind my trash can from his friends. All right, folks, what do you think of this?
Well, that's a nice, wholesome story. A great way to end our video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that kids need to know, and it's important for kids to know, that adults can have fun, right? And adults can play, and they can be around kids as well. I think that as long as the parents are fine with this, it's fine, right? And I think that this is just a wholesome type of thing, right? I don't think that this is a bad thing at all. I'm glad that he is able to be a positive role model for the kids.
And Mary says, "Wow, it's heartwarming to know that there still are neighborhoods like this."
Yeah. I mean, there are neighborhoods out there like that. There are neighborhoods. Our neighborhood really isn't terrible. I mean, the kids are kind of running around playing a lot when they go out. So.
Well, we have like kind of this sort of neighborhood. We never finished our poll. We should finish the poll.
Oh yeah, we have to finish the poll
and then I guess
before we go.
Say goodbye.
So we'll go into the outro scene here and finish the poll here. So we'll end the poll and get off my lawn. That's what I say all the time, Mary. I just tell the kids to get off our lawn.
Yeah, you do not.
We have 40% jigsaw puzzles, 40% word puzzles, and 20% other. So that's a pretty good result there. Five answers. My answer would probably be jigsaw puzzles, so we're gonna tip the scale there. But folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had a great time with this video today. And Wordle's good too. Yeah, you know.
Yes, I'm a huge Wordle fan.
Amber plays Wordle every single day, and I don't.
You used to.
I used to. I just sometimes don't have the time to sit down and play Wordle.
The first thing I do, like, even before I eat my breakfast, I'll make my breakfast, and then I sit down and do Wordle, and then I eat my breakfast.
But thanks everyone for joining us. We hope you had a great time. I had a great time. I won't speak for Amber.
I did too.
So thanks so much for joining us. We have another live stream coming up on the 27th of February. So yeah, hopefully we see you then. This is the best way to close out the month. I agree, Mary. It's a great way. It's a great way to close out the month. But I guess that's the end. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you all around.
Bye.
And now I'm just going to type out my message. So I'll give it another second and then just drop off. It's like I always do. I'll leave like a weird face at the end here. So uh, bye, Tuesday. Bye, Mary. I know there was a Jason on here too. And bye, Marcia. I haven't seen much of Marcia. She might have gotten like disconnected or something like that. She may not have heard us or something. So we'll see you all later.